here it is. Ezreal and York are the first bans. So Ezreal and York were, of course, both banned out last game as well.
Yeah, they certainly will. Ezreal has been banned out every game because they don't want to give him to balls. Another thing they don't want to do is give them Urgot again, so I'm certain we will see an Urgot ban coming down this time, although Team Dynamic does have the first pick, so of course they don't necessarily have to ban out Urgot, or, any necessarily of the other high priority champions that they might want to pick as well. We do see Alistar coming down as a ban, and Urgot is banned as well, but that is coming from mTw.NA, of course, because they do not have that first pick, don't want to go against him. Of course, last matchup, I really thought potentially the Nunu MF combination would be able to beat out that Janna and Urgot combination, but it did not turn out that way. Urgot able to rush that Frozen Heart and then really just dominate the lane.
Yep, we see Jace being banned out, aimed at the Rain Man once again. Nocturne and Alistar are fairly common bans in this tournament, so it's not surprising to see those.
No, certainly not. They're not going to let Rayman play Jace, although last game he did incredibly well on Teemo, and I don't know if they have a particular counter to the Teemo top. Some of the AP champions do fairly well against Teemo, but we did see the potential of a Lee Sin trying to counter him last game did not go so well for Team Dynamic. So we shall see if mTw.NA goes for that strategy again. We do see a Cassiopeia and a Morgana ban coming down, and that means an early Orianna pickup. So this is the first time I think I've seen it, certainly today, and perhaps even in this tournament. Orianna not as popular over on this side of the Atlantic Ocean as it is over on the European side. It was a very, very frequent first pickup for the over on the Europe side, just because she cannot really be counterpicked, has a great laning presence, and of course great late game presence as well. She can attach the ball with Command Protect and run that into a Command Shockwave and really do a lot of work in those team fights. So we are seeing that first pick coming down from Team Dynamic. On the other side of the coin, it looks like an early Nunu pickup. Of course, that would be a little bit unusual, and we might see that change. They still do have 20 seconds before they're locked in here. Generally, Team Dynamic is the team that features a Nunu and, sometimes Misfortune, but a Nunu bottom lane regardless.
Yep, and I mean, just picking up Nunu could also just prevent them from running that Nunu Misfortune lane, and they do lock in the Nunu, so it's going to be the Nunu going for mTw.NA as well as an Ahri, it looks like. Yep, Ahri is locked in, so we're going to see an Orianna versus Ahri lane. We don't actually see that, we haven't seen that lane much in NA tournaments at least, but Orianna and Ahri both very strong mid champions. Shyvana being shown as well as Aurelia, so if this was locked in right now, it'd probably be Aurelia top and Shyvana in the jungle.
Yeah, that would be the standard, and Team Dynamic tends to do this pretty frequently, where they pick their top laners and their junglers, in the same, breath and early on in the picking and banning phase. I guess they know, okay, well, we're going to be counterpicked anyway because the last pick is for mTw.NA. They'll probably save their, last pick for that top lane, so we may as well get it out of the way right now. And so that appears to be what they're doing, picking in the top lane and jungle. But, as usual, they could swap up those positions, although Aurelia is a pretty substandard jungler, so I don't think we will be seeing any swap there. And at the last second, we do see Pixel locking in Blitzcrank instead. So the Aurelia, somewhat of a troll. It does look like Shyvana will be played, will most likely go in the jungle, but we're going to have to wait and see who the top lane is going to be played by Zion Spartan.
So, and that is likely going to be a Blitzcrank support. Blitzcrank can also go in other lanes, but really you just see him being played support. And are we going to see the Rainman playing Yorick this time? Who does have him showing. Graves is also being chosen, or is being shown at least. We'll see if they lock those champions in.
Yeah, and that is really interesting. Of course, I didn't even notice Yorick was not banned. I actually don't believe Shen is banned either.
No, Shen is not banned.
So we have, a couple of those standard banned champions not being banned here, and Rayman not going to go with Yorick, or, he still does have a moment to lock in here, but instead they're picking up Nautilus, which Smithy really loves Nautilus in the jungle, and I guess Rayman felt like he didn't want to be countered by that Yorick pickup, so that leaves Yorick available to Zion Spartan, loves that Yorick pickup, and feels like he can't be countered very well, and last time he picked him, the attempted counter was Trundle, but I feel like, Zion Spartan was able to stay a little little bit ahead with Yorick in lane, and then was just a lot more, a lot more damaging coming into the team fight portion of the game. But we do see an Aurelia and Corki being hovered over. They do have 30 seconds, can swap this up at any given time, but right now it looks like an Aurelia top lane and a Corki Blitzcrank bottom lane.
Yep, so Aurelia is locked in, and we just have to wait a little while before Corki is locked in. So it does look like it's going to be Aurelia top and Shyvana jungle, so we'll see what the Rayman wants to go with against this Aurelia.
And Aurelia is a very hard champion to counter top, throughout all those nerfs and then a couple of buffs. I always feel like better nerf Aurelia a little bit more, because she's still incredibly hard to counter, wins a lot of those lanes up top, but we could see another Teemo run, and that would be incredible. That would be wonderful to see. 2 Teemo games in a row. We hardly are ever treated to such fanciful picks.
Yep, indeed. And we actually also got to see the Master Yi from Atlanta in Game 1. So some of these players playing their go-to champions in these matches, and it's been a lot of fun so far seeing the Rayman on Teemo and Atlanta on Yi. We'll see if xMtw decides to lock that in, or if he's just trolling us, making us hope that we see the Teemo before taking it away from us.
Yeah, I'm really surprised that we haven't seen, a great focus on Malphite either, and that Teemo is locked in, so that is going to be Teemo top versus Aurelia. But now they are showing actually Aurelia going into the jungle. I don't think that's actually going to happen. Would be relatively entertaining, but not generally a good pickup there. And Rayman running, a lot of health on that Teemo to protect from the true damage of Aurelia. So interesting choice there. Zion Spartan, on the other hand, running a really standard rune page, physical damage in those quints, attack speed reds, armor in the yellows, and magic resist per level blues. So certainly, Teemo would be considered a counter to Aurelia, but the matches can go pretty close, and when they hit level 6, Aurelia does have quite a bit of burst that can try to burst down Teemo. Of course, Teemo going to be, building a lot of health per level, a lot of extra health to try to sustain versus that level 6 burst of Aurelia.
Yep, and this is also the first game in this best of 3 that xMtw is going to be playing with them, the actual jungler for mTw.NA. We saw Don't Mash Me sub in for the first 2 games, but xMtw on Nautilus is back here.
Right, and that'll certainly help them out. We've been talking, and I've heard chat talking about it. Of course, Team Dynamic subbing in Atlanta for Nintendo X, and, they don't have the same synergy that we witnessed before. Obviously, in the first game, did an incredible job. Last game didn't go so well, and some people are like, oh, his Riven's not that good. But it was more of a function of, the entire team being kind of punished by their lanes. Nothing was going incredibly well for Team Dynamic. So I don't think you can really put that on the shoulders of Atlanta. But at the same time, it always helps when you've played with the same jungler over the course of, hundreds of games, as opposed to, Atlanta coming on, probably only have, tens of games under the belts, as opposed to hundreds of games. So that familiarity, that synergy, certainly builds up over the course of time.
Yep, we still have about 2 minutes before we get in games, so just want to remind everybody that we are sponsored by Arcade, a great question and answer site. You can go there, ask questions, answer questions. They have a reputation system similar to Reddit with like upvotes and downvotes, but you have to earn your ability to downvote stuff and upvote stuff. So definitely check that out. They have a great community, and you can ask questions that are just about gameplay and about any game. It could be League of Legends, which is the game that we are playing here, but also about StarCraft 2, Diablo 3, stuff like that. So it's a great site. Definitely encourage you guys to check it out, not just for League of Legends, but for all kinds of games.
Yeah, it is a great site, and there is a contest running. You can head over to ggchronicle.com/contests and check out the whole details there. But of course, 5 $25 RP cards being given away, as well as a $250 video card. So certainly worth your time to check out the contest details, and really all it revolves it down to is asking or answering a question, getting 5 upvotes, and then you're entered into a raffle and have the potential to win. So xMtw actually has a really interesting rune page where he's running 1 armor pen red and then a bunch of attack speed and then a little bit of move speed. So kind of an unusual mix there. And Teemo is going with that 175 health at level 18, so health per level seals flat health quintessences and magic resist in those blues and physical damage red. So that is certainly an interesting build too. Especially Aurelia does do a lot of true damage, but she actually does a lot of physical damage as well. Her ultimate is now physical damage. So I'm a little bit surprised not to see an early, a little bit of armor pickup in the runes, but perhaps we'll see the Randman, pick up items that will, satisfy that armor requirement.
Yep, so just about 10 seconds left before we get in game, and we'll get this final game of the best of 3 started. Again, Team Dynamic against mTw.NA. Team Dynamic took game 1, and then mTw.NA took game 2, so this is the third and final game of this stage.
Right, and the series immediately following this one will be Cursed NA versus CLG Black. Of course, a lot of drama going on there. If you've been, kept up with the scene, of course, the Cursed Gaming House camera last night picked up a lot of interesting stuff. We'll see, if that really motivated the team or really kind of took the wind out from underneath their wings. We do see Panda Teemo come down from the Rain Man. Very exciting. Grungy Nunu, Foxfire Ari, which is a beautiful, beautiful skin. No skin on Nautilus, though. And so I feel like Team Dynamic takes this one. Despite the strength of Panda Teemo, a 5-for-5 skin is very, very big, and that Piltover Customs Blitzcrank is an incredible skin as well, as is Hot Rod Corky. That mustache is hard to beat.
Yep, so we actually almost had every single player with a skin, but Nautilus not picking up a skin, so is the only one that does not have one. Both teams are heading out. Looks like Team Dynamic is going to go towards mid and going in the bush, going for this Wraith side, and maybe just put down a ward as is typical. Teemo is a little bit out of, he might get caught out a little bit because we have TD. Actually, the going
he
in.
is spotted, but
no,
he's
he is not spotted because he is invisible. That passive coming into effect, so he's just standing there now, and Team Dynamic is just going to. Are they going to? No, they're just going to back off actually, and Teemo staying alive takes massive balls just to stay in there, knowing that you're invisible and knowing that Team Dynamic probably doesn't know that you're there. Meanwhile, that ward does go down at the raids. Meanwhile, mTw.NA has put down a ward of their own at the other raid camp, so pretty standard start right now. But looks like Team Dynamic is going to go for this blue side right here. mTw.NA does know that they're what a lot of people like to do sometimes is have Blitzcrank stand around here and pull that blue buff and just kill it immediately. So that could be what they're going for right now. Looks like Shyvana is backing off though, going to go to her own blue camp, so it might be just that we see Blitzcrank pull the blue to try to delay a little bit, but mTw.NA isn't even starting their jungle right now. They're just standing waiting for something to happen, and a pull of the blue does happen, and it is indeed just to delay the blue, and he is just going to back off.
Right, they are just going to back off, so they will be able to do this blue buff, but their, jungle is a little bit delayed, so really great job so far. And where is that blue golem? He keeps on resetting different directions, so it's taking him a long time to get back in there. So on the other side, Team Dynamic has already taken their blue, also took those wolves, whereas Xmithy is just now starting on his blue. And of course, Nautilus not the greatest blue doer either, so that's certainly setting him back just a little bit, and a great strategy. Of course, if you're Team Dynamic, you know how you have this huge advantage with Blitzcrank. You have the advantage for those level 1 ganks, and mTw.NA, I feel, was just a little bit afraid of what could happen there. They played defensively, but that Blitzcrank getting pulled over the wall certainly hurt early on. So we're going to see a really fun matchup top lane, Aurelia versus Teemo. This is not a usual matchup. It's certainly a fun one to watch.
Atlanta coming around and actually using the advantage of Nautilus being slowed down to do the counter trolling, steal this red, and now going to go for these small golems actually, and he's probably going to be able to just take them and then either leave or maybe try for a gank on Teemo if Atlanta feels he has enough health.
Yeah, Atlanta does not have a very much health. Has to be a little bit worried because, of course, he could get ignited and taken down. He doesn't know exactly where Nautilus is right now, so he knows he's not going to be countered by that either. And we do see Paradoxical stealing one of the small race, but not the big one, was going after that. And now Atlanta just kind of camping up top lane, but the minion wave is really pushing towards Teemo's turret, so there's not going to be a good opportunity there. They also know, at the same time, mTw.NA knows that Shyvana is not, not doing their regular course of the jungle, knows that they haven't moved towards the Wraith camp, because there is that ward over at Wraith, and they've seen that the Wraiths have not been taken this entire time.
Yep. And actually just using that smite to take that big Wraith as Shyvana comes in, Nautilus is going to back off, so a little bit of counter jungling, but nothing that should delay Atlanta too much.
Right, and the advantage Atlanta has now is, he knows Nautilus isn't going to smite down the red buff, and Atlanta's smite is up, so pretty safe taking of this red buff will be ensuing here. And once again, we're seeing Atlanta pick up both red buffs early on. It reminds me of the first game where he was playing Yi, did some very aggressive counter jungling that wasn't really getting him up so far as, minions or levels or kills, but it did give him the advantage, making sure that he got both of those early red buffs to ensure that the opposing jungler didn't have that extra ganking presence.
So down at bot, we really haven't seen much action. Blitzcrank, actually getting a great pull on Balls right on the money. Wow, that was a great pull, but not too much damage going on, as Balls is able to just dash away.
Right, he was not able to get that little knock up from Power Fist, and that's not surprising, because obviously that comes in very fast, but Balls being able to quick draw away so incredibly fast, doing a great job of that. And in top lane, we see a little bit of action going down. Actually, Zion Spartan getting the worst of this. It looked like he got a little bit creep blocked as he was trying to run away there. So Rain Man taking the early lead in that lane. But so far, actually, the farm is going in Rain Man's favor as well. 29 to 22, and of course, Aurelia actually has gone back to buy, picked up the Doran shield. So we don't see too many Doran shields, but it certainly can help you out in that lane. We've seen a lot of Vladimirs pick up the Doran shield just to help them sustain against bruisers early on, but will that be enough for Zion Spartan?
Yep, and Atlanta's going to come in, Zion Spartan coming in, and a flash is popped from Rain Man, so Rain Man does manage to get back, so he does have a great mobility with that Teemo, but now his flash is down, so we'll see if Atlanta tries to take advantage of that and gank a little bit later on.
Right. Unfortunately, Shyvana not the greatest ganker in the junglers, more of a control jungler, counter jungling jungler. And Teemo is going to need to get ganked, but he's also going to be level 6 relatively shortly here. He's more than halfway through level 5, and once he hits level 6, if the jungler runs into any of those mushrooms on their way up to that lane, it really thwarts any gank attempts.
We see another great pull by Pixel, and Balls is in a lot of trouble, doing a lot of damage, just have to flash away. Corki going in with the Valkyrie, is he going to be able to take him down? Does flash in, can he get that final hit? No, he does not. And wow, great pull by Pixel, but they are unable to capitalize.
Right, and it was also a great exhaust coming down from Muffin Cutie. Otherwise, that would have been a kill for Zig. Those last couple of auto attacks just not doing quite as much damage because of that exhaust coming down. So really great pull once again, and good job, but not able to capitalize on it fully, unfortunately, for Team Dynamic.
Yep, Zion Spartan is going to just farm under tower. It really is great and farming under tower, so should be just fine right now. Getting those last bits of CS, but Rayman is doing pretty well as at full health and has hit level 6, so is going to have that mushroom coverage soon.
Right, and also has that ward, does drop down a mushroom, and what is that? It looks like
a bamboo.
I have not
thing?
seen that.
I don't know. It's Panda Teemo, so it must be something like bamboo.
It looks like cheese to me. It looks like delicious cheese. Man, yeah, I wonder what that actually is. Perhaps we'll get a better view of it shortly. In the river there, it's a little bit dark. Man, I'm sure someone in the chat could inform us as to what that is. It looks like, yeah, maybe a bamboo present or something along those lines.
Yep, and actually we see Xfinity coming in very aggressive. The Charm going out from Ari, and now the Dredge line going down. Paradoxical doing a very good job of staying alive, and actually using the ultimate to get Xfinity very low and forcing him to use that flash. So getting caught a little bit, but using that ultimate to eventually force that flash and actually maybe come out ahead because of that.
Yeah, really good job there, defending himself, and we see Atlanta at level 6 to the level 4 of Xmithy, and of course getting chunked down there and wasting his flash was Xmithy not a really great thing for him. It's going to set him further behind in the jungle. They are going to go ahead and pick up this blue, will likely go to Mandatory Cloud, but if they go ahead and do that, it gives Atlanta the opportunity to try to counter the red buff, although they do feel like Atlanta is going to the red buff, so they head over there, Teemo and Nautilus together.
Yeah, Mandatory Cloud actually coming in with that ultimate, and is going to try to take out Paradoxical. Atlanta coming in with that Dragon Form to try to protect. And Mandatory Cloud isn't able to finish off Paradoxical, so despite that hyper-aggressive move, isn't able to get a kill, and we still haven't gotten a kill about almost 9 minutes into the game, but there's still been a ton of action so far.
And I'm hearing that it is a rice ball, and I'm also hearing it's teabag. So that doesn't help me at all. I'm not certain which one it is. Rice cakes, tea-ball, shrooms look like pyramids. It's certainly not very clear coming down, and we actually don't see too many mushrooms being placed, which is unusual. I do believe it's off cooldown, but Rayman, I guess, saving up his mana to place down future shrooms. We did see in the last game would tend to run out of mana pretty frequently, and that's, Teemos do that if they're placing down all those shrooms. But I'm also intrigued as to why he wouldn't place it down before he's going to recall, and I guess he's going to decide not to recall here and just continue pushing down this lane. Does have a little bit of advantage, 62 CS. Well, actually, wow, he had an advantage earlier on, but it's 62 to 64, so Zion Spartan doing a really good job keeping up in farm against a lane that is generally, not in Aurelia's favor.
Yep, and I mean, a lot of it is because he's been able to farm under tower solo, because he's been basically push the tower. It looks like Atlanta's going for a gank, does pop the mushroom, but exhaust on Rayman, and he is going to try to get away as quickly as he can. On the other side of the map, there is First Blood. We'll look at that a little bit later. Xmida coming in, trying to help out, but he's also in trouble after Shyvana takes out that Teemo, the dredge line going out to get him away. So let's take a look at that First Blood down at bot lane.
How did that even happen? Of course, we were really focused on top lane, but same time.
Yeah, so what happened was a grab from Pixel allowed Zig to try to go in on balls, and actually the Nunu ultimate finished off Corki as Balls was able to get away with barely any health. So a great play by Balls and by Muffin Cutie to really turn that around despite the Blitzcrank pull.
Yeah, and Zig unfortunately took a tower hit there, obviously helped change the tides of the battle, really got him just that little bit lower, and of course Balls barely escaping one more auto attack would have sealed the deal for Zig. So certainly that lane, thus far has been going just a tiny bit in favor of Corki and Blitzcrank, and they're going to be aggressive once again.
Aggressive again. Pixel going in. Actually, Zig is very low though, and the exhaust goes down on Balls, but Zig still needs to get back. Now Muffin Cutie has to get back. He's also very low, and we see Ari coming in, but he's taking a while now. Still a lot of action. The pull comes out on Balls, and Balls is everybody's really low. Mandatory Cloud comes in and cleans up both kills, and that is a double kill for Ari, giving mTw.NA a 3-to-1 kill lead.
Yeah, I feel like they knew middle was missing earlier on, so they were playing defensively and didn't want to go all the way into that fight, but then they kept on sticking around, kept on fighting against Balls and Muffin Cutie, and the longer that fight went on, obviously the more time it gave Ari to get down there. So now we see a 3-to-1 lead, about only about 1,000 gold lead for mTw.NA, but certainly that double kill for Ari is going to mean that she's going to be that much stronger in her own lane as well. But we actually see Paradoxical picking up that usual, or not the usual, but the more frequently seen GP10 middle lane. So they already have Kage's Lucky Pick and a Heart of Gold in middle, compared to Mandatory Cloud, who's going, with the Kage's Lucky Pick, but that will probably be turned into a Deathfire Grasp sooner than later.
Yep, so we see those gold pretends going to be generating a little bit of gold for both sides, but it looks like we're going to see an Ari with a Deathfire Grasp going to try to do a lot of burst damage that way. But meanwhile, we see Rayman actually taking a lot of damage and a lot of fighting going on. The mushrooms going off, and Zion Spartan actually taking a lot of damage as well. It has to back off because those mushrooms are doing so much damage. Actually popping that ultimate, trying to do some damage and get some life back at the same time. Does manage to force Teemo to fall back.
Yeah, and it's kind of an interesting build.
Going back down, we see Xmida coming in for an inlane gank, using that dredge line. The pull comes on Muffin Cutie, and Muffin Cutie is taking tower hits, but does manage to get back as looks like Corki fell to Nautilus. So great gank, successful, and is going to give mTw.NA even more of a lead.
And there's a lot of aggression down there in the bottom lane. We do see Zion Spartan still being aggressive against Rainman up top. The Ignite does go down from the Rainman.
Actually, it looks like Rainman actually doing a lot of damage and slowing down Zion Spartans. He chooses not to chase those, so a pretty aggressive lane. Both of them are fairly low, and Zion Spartan actually being forced to use that health potion to get back some health.
Right, and Zion Spartan does have his ultimate up in 15 seconds, does have Ignite up still, so if he is a little bit lower life than Rayman at any point, he can Bleed Surge, Equilibrium Strike on top of him and do a lot of damage, perhaps finish off the Rayman. We do see both top laners picking up those early Merc Treads, and the Doran Shield, kind of the only pickup for Aurelia, and a Ruby Crystal, which could turn into a Heart of Gold or an early Phage, and for Teemo we see 2 Doran's Blades, so an interesting, strategy from Teemo, only running with 56 armor as compared to the 79 armor on Aurelia.
Yep, looks like Oriana's going to get that blue buff donated to her. Should help her out in lane, as Oriana really likes having that blue buff. Meanwhile, there is a pause.
Uh-oh. Wonder what that is for.
I do not have chat, so do you know what is going on?
Mumble crashed. So it is a pause from Team Dynamic. Apparently Paradoxical's Mumble did crash, so they will just be one moment while they're getting their voice communication back up, and then we'll be jumping back into the game. Yeah, I'm hearing in chat Zion versus TRM matchup of the century. Certainly Zion Spartan is a stellar top laner, matches up well against seemingly all the other professional top laners, and doing a good job so far in this game. 102 farm to the 91 from Teemo, so he is just a little bit ahead. And even last game when it was that Lee Sin versus Teemo, he was able to stay equal in farm almost the entire time throughout. So we are back into the game, and Zion Spartan, I'm really interested in seeing if there's going to be some sort of attempted dive here, attempted kill placed down.
Yep, and Rayman is very low on mana, so isn't able to just throw out those blinding darts and use those mushrooms as much, and is just actually going to be forced to go back now. So meanwhile, we see Paradoxical in some trouble. We see the Dredge Line go out from xMithy, and a lot of damage going down, flashing through, but Atlanta using that Dragon Form to great effect, pushing him away while doing some damage, and is forcing xMithy. The exhaust goes down. xMithy is trying to get away, is going to try to use that slow to get back, does manage to get away just in time, so great play by both sides.
Yeah, absolutely. Mandatory Cloud almost went down to the might of Paradoxical's Oriana, and we actually see another pull over the wall coming from Pixel, so they're going to secure this blue buff and ensure that Mandatory Cloud doesn't get it. Atlanta just takes that for himself, and now we're going to see a attempted dragon pickup here. Nautilus is really low, did not go back. So Mandatory Cloud, and it looks like a lot of mTw.NA is coming down here, but they didn't have their dragon down there, or their jungler down there, so it's easily smited, and now they're just going to back on out. So it's actually a 4-1 lead in favor of mTw.NA, but Team Dynamic has they actually had a 300 gold lead. It's actually, back to even now, just because of people being out of lane. But essentially a very, very even matchup 15 minutes in, dead even on in that gold department.
Yep, that dragon did go down around, was it 1540-ish? So it should be back up around 2140, so we'll be on the lookout for that. Zion Spartan getting hit by a mushroom and is going to take some harass from the Rayman, who puts down another mushroom and still continuing to just harass him as much as he can. So Zion Spartan being forced to use another health potion. It's a very aggressive lane. We haven't seen, it's been mostly a harass lane rather than any kills. We saw one gank earlier, but besides that, it's just been a lot of harass. Now he gets stunned. Now Atlanta is coming in. The Ignite goes down, and now Atlanta is going to jump in there. They are going to be able to pick up that kill on the Rayman. He's trying to get away, but actually no. He is still alive for now. He's going to hit Zion Spartan once before he falls, but that is a kill for Team Dynamic.
Yeah, I like Atlanta just throwing in that E, throwing in the Flame Breath just to get the assist, but actually didn't help out any, besides that at all. So really, all that work was done by Zion Spartan. Of course, Rainman couldn't fight back because Atlanta was coming in, but a good showing of Aurelia being able to do enough damage to take out that Teemo essentially on her own.
Yep, and it looks like Team Dynamic isn't trying to take down this top turret. They are going to. Looks like Nautilus was in the area, but didn't want to challenge it because there are two members of Team Dynamic here. xMithy still staying in the bush, staying hidden, might choose to go on Zion Spartan at some point, but Atlanta is in the vicinity. So actually no, let's go on Zion Spartan now using that slow and that snare of the passive, and is putting some damage on him. But Zion Spartan is just walking away. Atlanta comes in and chases away Smithy.
Yeah, so he was able to put on some damage on him, but he is only level 8, 2 levels behind Atlanta. Only has GP10s built up thus far, Philosopher's Stone, Heart of Gold, and a Ruby Crystal, which might be turned into an Aegis later on. But yeah, Nautilus, not the most damaging jungler. He's really just known well for his crowd control, has all those different forms of it. But we do see Oracles picked up from both jugglers. Only 6 kills, 18 minutes into the game, so not as really aggressive as a lot of other games we've watched this far in the tournament. But, you know, despite that, it has remained very close throughout, and it always amuses me. Oh, wow.
Sorry, I did not catch that kill, so I will rewind this shortly as long as I make sure there's nothing happening here. But we actually see Paradoxal getting caught out using that exhaust, and now Mandatory Cloud going in with that ultimate, and Atlanta being forced to basically use that ultimate to escape. So that was that kill over at mid lane.
Right, and there's actually a lot of aggression over the next couple of seconds as well.
Yep, so we're going to catch this little last bit as Zig has to flash away, is being chased by Muffin Cutie and Balls. That Valkyrie doesn't really help him a lot, but he's going to try to get back to the safety of his turret. Snowball goes out, and it looks like they are going to dive. Those fall. Muffin Cutie taking that tower for Graves as they are able to finish him off. But some more kills went on. As long as I make sure there isn't as much action, I can go back and try to catch that for you guys. But it looks...
Yeah, I mean, what happened in short was essentially they tried to dive Balls, but Balls nearly took out Blitzcrank on his own. Blitzcrank barely survived, and the Muffin Cutie came back in the lane, was able to catch up to Blitzcrank, take out that kill, and in middle lane at the same time, actually Atlanta went down to the combined forces of Mandatory Cloud and Smithy. So a really, you know, kind of great turnaround there for mTw.NA. Things were kind of looking against them after Rain Man died. I mean, they were still up 2-4, but they were down in the overall gold. But now they've taken a huge lead, you know, getting that Oracles off of Atlanta, taking down mid turret, taking down bottom turret after picking up 2 kills down there, and suddenly they're really pulling ahead in this game.
So it's a bit far now, so I don't want to try to go back and find when the kills were, but you just heard the summary by Soter. A lot of action happening in a short period of time. Sorry I couldn't catch that for you, but yeah, it looks pretty good for mTw.NA despite what, I mean, it was a pretty close game, but it looks pretty good for mTw.NA now as they developed almost 3k gold lead.
Yeah, and it's going to come down to whether Teemo can be really effective in these team fights, I feel, because as of now, we do see a really late-game oriented build coming from Orianna with those 2 GP10s, but, you know, she's the only one running GP10s outside of Blitzcrank on her team. The jungle has 1 Heart of Gold, but it's not, you know, the double, you know, GP10s that are coming down from Nautilus. So are they really trying to focus in for a late-game team fight, or is that just the way they wanted to build up Orianna? Does now have that needlessly large rod and a blasting wand, so that'll soon be a death cap. And we do see Zion Spartan making his way down, and I suppose this will be the next dragon. I think you mentioned 2140 is when it'll be up, so there's about 26 seconds before it is here. And we see mTw.NA kind of moving away from Dragon. Like, they know it's coming up. Rayman started to move down towards the Dragon, then he decided to move back up into his lane, farm it out a little bit, push it forward, and I guess now he's heading back down there, but I don't know that he'll be there in time.
Yeah, and they're in the area. They have Nautilus with that Oracle, so they're going to see that ward soon. And it looks like Team Dynamic is going to start this dragon, are trying to take it down while mTw.NA comes over. Pulk goes out, but does not catch anybody, and Team Dynamic goes out of there because they do not think they can win this fight. So we'll see if they can basically prevent mTw.NA from taking this dragon. The dragon does reset, so Team Dynamic tries to get it. The charm goes out, but misses everybody, and Atlanta manages to get that smite on, and now a pull catches Mandatory Cloud, a great pull, managed to take him out, and now Muffin Cutie is very low using that ultimate, and a double kill from Corky, but Balls is also low now, and is going to fall to Zion Spartan, and now they are on the chase. Rayman being forced to flash away, Zig using that Valkyrie to try to catch up, but Zion Spartan going in, and he's pretty low, but Rayman is going to fall very quickly because of is because it was 3v1 there. So a great fight for Team Dynamic, as well as picking up that dragon. And yeah, so that is going to put them only about 600 gold behind, and it's pretty much even at this point.
Yeah, and that was a 4 for 2. They did lose their Oracle, and Xmithy still has his Oracle. But really great last fight, how Zion Spartan managed to dash through the mushroom, or that real little rice cake, or whatever it is, from Panda Teemo, and not proc it, because otherwise he probably would have fallen as well. So a really, really good showing by Team Dynamic. Obviously, you said, initially, oh, they probably don't think they can win this fight, but everything just went in their favor. A great blitz hook leading into it. The insta-killing of Mandatory Cloud was very, very big, and then they were just able to, essentially isolate everyone out. Muffin Cutie, immediately procced that absolute zero, but was in a position where everyone could attack him, and not necessarily be in that absolute zero zone. So we are saying, it is still a 10-6 lead for mTw.NA, but the gold lead is only 700 in their favor, thanks to, I believe, both dragons picked up by Team Dynamic. And obviously the next one we will see at around 29, 28, 30, or thereabouts. So really good showing from Team Dynamic, taking that team fight. And the other thing is Teemo was able to attack from the back line, throughout the majority of that fight, but still was not able to really do all that much damage-wise. And I guess that's one concern as to why Teemo might fall off later on in the team fighting stages. But I figured those mushrooms would do a good job, and I think mainly the thing that went wrong was Mandatory Cloud getting caught out, and not having your AP being able to do any damage throughout the course of a fight is certainly a detriment to anyone's team fighting capabilities.
Yep, and we actually see Team Dynamic pushing down mid, managed to take down that mid turret, so it's a very close game. They have 2 turrets taken each, and despite the disadvantage in kills, Team Dynamic has those dragons to give them that global gold. Meanwhile, we see Nunu and Ball's coming up here, trying to get a gank on Zion Spartan, but he sees that with the ward, but he's going to get caught out a little bit. Ball's going in with that dash, doing a lot of damage. Teemo putting some damage as well, but Zion Spartan gets back into the safety of his turret. Meanwhile, the rest of Team Dynamic is coming up as well, with the exception of Corky. Blitzcrank is checking the area around Baron, and falls back, going there, sweeping for wards before falling back, as he is the one with oracles now. And looks like the focus is going to be on the top tower now, as Paradoxical is going to come here, try to push back this lane to prevent the tower from going down.
Yeah, we did see Zion Spartan head back. Didn't really want to have to deal with the aggression there now that he was down a half-life, and really was pretty lucky in being able to get away there. Didn't, of course, get too many phage procs on him from that Teemo, but now we see Teemo really littering the river with those little rice cakes or tea packages or whatever they may be. But certainly, any fight around Baron might favor mTw.NA if those little mushrooms are not taken out. Certainly there is an Oracle, and actually we just see Paradoxical running into all the mushrooms, so that's also another option. Just run into all of them, shield it up with Command Protect, and that seemed to be what Paradoxical did. I don't believe on purpose, but cleared out 2 mushrooms and didn't take too much damage for it.
Yep, so some good mushroom clearing there, or rice cake or whatever clearing. Teemo is just going to push down this top lane a little bit before... and that's actually going to try to take this turret down. All of Team Dynamic is coming to try to take him out, but the mushroom does spot them. Teemo is going to actually just stick with the turret and going to just run away in this direction, maybe trying to get some... get an executed, or just trying to get away and buy his team time, but he is just running towards the base, is going to die, and is going to give Paradoxical that kill. But meanwhile, the rest of mTw.NA was maybe going for Baron, but it looks like they have to back off as they see that there are only 4 and the rest of Team Dynamic is in the vicinity.
Yeah, so that was a really interesting strategy. Obviously, Teemo felt like he was caught out. By the time that, they ran into the mushroom, they were just in a bad position. He was too caught up to actually, go in and, escape by any means. So decided to just waste a lot of Team Dynamics' time and, potentially allow them to do Baron, but there simply wasn't enough time to do that. We do see Pixel taking a lot of damage from this Baron, but Baron is going down. Atlanta picks that up with the smite at the final moment there, and so now they're actually ahead in gold, and Zig jumps on over and is going after Xmithy. Does have red buff, so he's able to slow him down, but Xmithy dredge lines away. But right now, 300 gold up for Team Dynamic, and they have a huge advantage with that Baron buff. What are they going to do with it? Certainly they could push down the bottom lane, get some extra free gold from these turrets, or push down mid. It really is all up to them. They must be feeling pretty confident as they won the last team fight in pretty dramatic fashion, and now that they have the Baron buff, they know that the gold is on their side. If not necessarily the global gold advantage, then definitely the global gold plus the buffs that Baron inherently gives you.
Yep, so in terms of global gold, it's actually very close still, about 600 gold difference, so it's not quite as an advantage, but they do have that buff, which would help them push a lot. And it looks like they are grouping up mid. Irelia is going bot, and actually Shyvana is going towards top, so not quite grouping yet, but they are going to try to take advantage of this Baron buff.
Yeah, I mean, they certainly should. Obviously, Baron buff provides your whole team a big advantage. A little bit unusual to see Shyvana running top. Dragon is back up, and a lot of people stop focusing on Dragon when Baron comes into play, but Dragon's still very important. It's still the equivalent of about 2 kills, so if you can pick that up, it's just free extra gold for your team. Perhaps they feel like it's already been taken, but it hasn't been taken by either team. It is still certainly in play for whoever decides to go after it.
We see Zion Spartan fighting with Graves, but Zion Spartan is going to get ulted by Nautilus and then back off. They actually are trying to chase a little bit. The pull from Pixel goes out, but a flash prevents him from getting anybody, and now this tower is going to go down. And they're going to keep on pushing, or are they just going to move on to a different turret? I think they are deciding to go towards mid, where Shyvana is already pushing.
Yeah, I mean, okay, they might actually pick up this dragon here. They do pick up the dragon. I was going to say, they're going to run right by a dragon. They may as well pick it up. They do decide to go for that. And at the same time, Atlanta just counter-jungling. And now, yeah, perhaps they'll be heading towards middle. So far kind of disjointed in the sense that, you know, they didn't all go for dragon at the same time.
Oh, actually, Rayman gets caught by a pull, but... Oh, actually, great ultimate from Orianna, but Pixel is very low. He does have to back off, so a little bit of a fighting, but no one dies. Pixel drops very low, is forced to go back, and so there's only going to be 4 pushing here. They are, you know, doing some job clearing these waves, but they are only going to be able to... Actually, no, it looks like mTw.NA is also very low, so they have to fall back, and they're just going to give up this middle turret instead of defending it, despite managing to force Pixel away.
Yeah, Pixel got very low, but on the other side, Teemo was low, Balls was low, Muffin Cutie also got low, thanks to a really good command shockwave coming down from Orianna. So Team Dynamic actually, you know, tanks the turret, relying on that Baron buff to regenerate a little bit for them. They do run into a Mushroom, and I don't know if they're going to be able to continue on their push top lane. Yes, they're getting that regeneration, but Zig is down to half-life. He's not in the best of situations, and we do see Paradoxical at Atlanta heading back, and the Rain Man actually going a little bit aggressive on them.
Yeah, Rain Man tried to prevent Paradoxical from going back, but was not in time, so the Paradoxical does go back, and they're just going to retreat. Baron buff has a little bit of time left, but I think it is going to run out before they manage to do any sort of major push.
Yeah, so a relatively interesting thing here, and just something I wouldn't consider doing, is Orianna heads back, and she actually has 1,500 gold, but she has no slots to buy any items, because she has those Hearts of Gold, she has that Chalice of Harmony, so obviously she has the Voice Staff and Death Cap as kind of her major completed items, but she also has 1,500 gold saved up in the bank, and that could, you know, eventually turn into a Zhonya's, Lichbane, what have you, but for right now, there's no room in her inventory to build any of the components for those big items, so we'll have to see, you know, at what point are they going to perhaps sell those GP10 items? Are they going to pick up a Deathfire Grasp to complete that Kage's lucky pick? Or what is really going to be their preference throughout the rest of the course of this game? And we do see Zion Spartan picking up the first Guardian Angel of the game as well. So that is a big pickup. It's going to allow him to dive really deep into these team fights and get away.
Yep. Ari getting a little bit caught out there, is forced to use that ultimate to get away. And meanwhile, we see Teemo just pushing down top, a split push going on here as the rest of Team Dynamic is just pushing mid. So we'll see if Teemo decides to go back, and it does indeed look like he is forced to go back because mTw.NA is not able to defend this turret basically without him. So they're actually doing a lot of damage to this turret right now. Zion Spartan gets caught by a charm, and Pixel gets bursted a lot using that using that Deathfire Grasp, but Zion Spartan going into the fray, and now they're going to try to fight this great command Shockwave, and the Atlanta goes in with his ultimate and is doing a good job dropping them very low, but no more kills just yet. Actually, a great pull by Pixel gets Xmithy, and Xmithy is going to fall, and on the other side of the map, Corki takes out the Teemo, so Zion Spartan's Guardian Angel does go off, so he is alive, and now they're going to try to push the rest of the way. Ball's taking a lot of damage. Great pull gets Muffin Cutie, and Muffin Cutie is going to fall as well. And now they are going to try to take down this last turret. They are going to take down that turret. Oriana does manage to finish up the ace, so it looks like Team Dynamic is going to take this game and move on.
Yeah, very close game all throughout.
There is still
move into the winner's bracket.
Yes, move into the winner's bracket.
Yeah, so certainly stay tuned with us. We do have, more games coming up in this League Crafts ggClassic presented by Arcade. In just a moment, we'll have CLG Black versus NA coming up in the other, Best 3 series. And then, of course, we will have the losers bracket versus the winners bracket. Of course, Team Dynamic taking this series 2-1. mTw.NA will have to move on to the losers bracket. We'll face the losers of that Curse versus CLG matchup. That will be